should be good.
Man,
Good morning.
good morning. How are you?
I'm amazing.
Welcome back.
How are you?
How are you guys?
Are you good?
Are you good?
Oh, we hope so.
We hope so. Everyone's good.
Everyone's
Very
good. Let's.
No, I'm good. I'm
Right
well. I'm good. Sleeping good. Things are good. Had a
Excellent.
Good week.
Good to hear.
Lots happening.
Fantastic. That is
Ah.
excellent. Welcome back
welcome
to the
back.
Eagle's Nest.
Eagles Nest.
And do you know what? So today, I'll get us into it. Today,
Please.
we've had a few conversations. Or actually, we talk all the time.
We have
about
many
this
conversations.
stuff,
Yeah.
but more specifically around some of the more traditional martial arts. And Hapkido,
Falls in that.
well, kind of does and kind of doesn't, because it's more of it's not that old in real terms,
That's really true.
but it still
Less
falls,
than 100 years.
still falls under that traditional
No
umbrella.
matter what the Koreans say. Just saying.
Just, hey,
Speak to...
it's early to pick a fight, but okay, let's
start
go.
there.
Hey, so, hang on, we'll just,
keep
let me,
going.
we'll set it up and then
Sorry,
we'll
that's my
dive
bad.
in.
That's
Then
my
we'll
bad.
dive into that.
That's my bad.
Um,
I chose violence
you,
today.
you have woken up and chosen violence, and I love it. I'm here for it.
I'm here for it. Sorry, go.
There's always this eternal debate
Yeah.
about the efficacy of traditional martial arts.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that it really bears the question of, we're in 2026, and there's no you have no excuses for not knowing what
Keep going.
is out there.
Yeah, definitely.
So the question is, are traditional martial arts still relevant in 2026? This is the eternal,
Here
and I don't
is,
think
yeah.
I don't think we'll adequately answer this topic today.
Yeah,
but I
I
think
think-
it bears discussion.
Totally. And I think that, like, before we get into this, this is completely your and I's opinion, and
Does
should
not
be
represent
taken the wider community
or Eagle martial arts
Eagle
in
martial
general.
arts in general. No. But I because it's I think we actually we haven't had this conversation in like real depth, you and I.
No.
As a thing, but I think I know where you stand on it, and I think you probably know where I stand on it.
Look,
But
I think it'd be interesting, because I've got some. Look, neither of our opinions will probably surprise many of you.
Yeah, that's
but
what
I
I
think
reckon.
maybe the way that we come to it
Might.
yeah, and it might give you pause for contemplation on, like, if you do train in a traditional martial art, you might go, you might think like, hey, maybe I am, what is it, yellow bamboo?
Yellow pimp, yeah.
I am just death touch.
Cha. I've sent you a few of those.
You sent me one last
yesterday.
night.
Fucking jeez. Actually, we will link it.
And I'm gonna
We'll make sure we put the link
You're
in
not
for that
pressing
one.
hard enough.
You're not pressing hard enough on the
yin
the
or the
yin
yang
yang
point,
point.
and I'm gonna
God.
doink.
That
This
dude's
is
just super famous too for being that guy.
Just
Yeah,
death touch.
Death touches.
Um,
Anyway,
But
so
having said that, I should say we're actually not referring to, if we take
we're not referring to the
take like the
McDojo
death
people.
touch McDojo, the people who live in a complete
Fantasy world.
fantasy world.
No, we're talking traditionalists who only train in I only train traditional Shaolin Kung Fu, Wing Chun, Aikido,
like karate, whatever it is.
Yeah, the real when we mean that in the most traditional senses.
Yes.
You can have the sort of hybrid schools. Like, this is the thing. Let's use EMA and our style of Hapkido. We have kept, and we've talked about this before on the Hapkido episode we talked about, but what we thought was important around our Hapkido, and what we learned was really important to preserve the art form that we learned,
Yes.
so that we can keep the techniques alive.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Correct.
We think that's important. We still believe that's really important, and we've kept all the techniques that we learned in our syllabus, and as we've said in the Scott episode as well, a lot of the masters from back in the day don't have that anymore. They do just a lot of flipping and falling. They've got some base techniques,
Yes.
but they've lost a lot of the core syllabus stuff. And there's still some Hapkido styles out there in particular who've kept the heavenly 10 and all that sort of stuff you can get into about their base techniques. Anyway, but we've made choices to evolve to suit the modern day and make sure that there's things that we think are important in self-defense, because we're teaching a self-defense martial art. That's the focus of what Hapkido is. It's not based in sport. It's not based in competition. It's based in our goal is to just really build capable humans, make confident people, that's really the goal of like growth and
absolutely.
self in martial arts, which I think is at the core of most of
I think
martial
that
arts
is the
practices, right?
The intention.
The intention is to just build confident, better humans.
Capable humans.
Capable humans.
Yeah.
And that could be doesn't mean world champion fighting Muhammad Ali.
We're not talking here. You're not building like the ultimate killing machine.
No, not at all. We're just talking about confident people who are confident in the choices they make in their lives, in the decisions they make as humans because they're confident in themselves.
Yes.
And I think that's the representation of what I think martial arts is about at a really fundamental level. So our art has had to evolve into something, into keeping the art form in what it is, and then we've decided to add some things to the syllabus that are relevant to modern era.
Yep.
Now, getting into the weeds of are traditional martial arts relevant? I think it comes down to what understanding, and I think this really always comes back to your teachers, is like what your teachers are teaching you and telling you and how they're framing those conversations.
Yep.
Because there are certain techniques that I teach in class because it's part of the traditional syllabus that I look at and go, this is a learning tool to understand how the body moves in this particular direction, how you can manipulate the joints, how you can get to these certain positions.
Yes.
But I'm really clear on this is very not practical in the way that we have to learn it. This is not a practical section of, you're not going to be able to apply this from learning it from this point.
Yes.
You're going to have to learn how the body works and how the joint lock works. Then you're going to have to work out better ways to get there.
Yep.
To actually make that lock work. Or in this scenario is where this lock is relevant. So if you end up in this kind of position, space.
And this is where you can get to it.
This is how you can get to it.
So it's kind of a small piece
it's
in a much larger puzzle.
It's like a niche part of techniques, right? Like you could argue the same point with like, say, heel hooks in jiu-jitsu. Really good technique, really applicable. But if every fight starts standing, so you've got to start at the standing point and then work your way to get to the feet.
But if you manage to find yourself in a position where the foot presents itself,
or you learn how to get there, then it's super relevant.
Yes,
it's the same kind of thing. It's like there's no point in teaching heel hooks in a kickboxing match because they're not allowed to do them.
Yes.
So that, do you know what I mean? Like it's relative to the thing. It's not saying that, like, obviously everyone heel hooks they work. Everyone knows they work. But the point is that it's a specialist part of jiu-jitsu that you then in under a jiu-jitsu rule set is really relevant because you're forced to play that game.
Yes.
And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a really good thing. But I think the problem is there are still too many traditionalists out there who haven't been punched in the face enough by other martial artists.
Yes.
And they go, but this is the only way.
Yes.
And I think that inherently is the problem.
So, and because I just off that, and I think that you've made a really good point. For me, and I've got nothing to back this up. Actually, this is just the way that it's again,
your brain thinks.
My opinion, but it seems to me to be a logical conclusion of way back when. And you know there's stories and there is actual documentation around people would challenge the whole school challenging. Dojo storming. And we're talking whether it's 50 years ago or 200 years ago.
More relevant for the jiu-jitsu dojo storming in the modern day, but back in the day.
But styles seem to be far more combative and willing to test themselves and get punched in the face.
100%.
And then they're kind of evolved or devolved into this era of, well, we don't do it that way. You're gonna attack me in this specific fashion.
Yeah.
And I'm going to then deal with that specific attack.
Yeah.
And so you get very good at 1 + 1.
Yeah.
And then when someone comes in with a 2 or a 3, you're like, hang on. But I need you to you're gonna attack me in this way and I'm gonna deal with it. You're like, yeah, but what if I
There are some really famous there's some footage. There's some really famous examples of dojo storming or people coming and attacking
challenge matches?
But so there's one I'm thinking of. I can't remember the name of the guy that did it, but I remember it was on William Chung.
Yep.
And the guy went to a seminar of his and then just attacked him. And he
really?
was another Wing Chun guy.
Yeah.
Like he was another, and he was like a, I'm gonna butcher it. I can't remember. He might be of like he's potentially Middle Eastern American or like he's
Not the Wing Chun or something.
yeah, no, I can't remember his name. Anyway, but
So it's something
he's just one of those guys.
same but different.
Yeah, he's training in the same art, but he had this whole beef with like William Chung because William Chung comes from one of the traditionalist styles and is one of the best Wing Chun masters out there. Like especially from his legacy of where he comes from, and like I think it goes all the way back to bloody. Was he training with Bruce? Was it? Was it?
I have
Was it
no
the Ip Man
Wing
lineage?
Chun
I can't remember. He has a really famous lineage.
knowledge.
But anyway, the point is, this dude had some beef with him, and then they were at an open seminar that's doing a thing, and then they're talking, and he just like jumps him, and he smacks him around, and they end up basically grappling, and then the students separate, and he's sort of, see, I won, I'm a better Wing Chun, and it's like, well, are you? You just like came to someone's seminar and then jumped them mid seminar.
Yes.
Like asked them a question, like completely off guard, as opposed to going, "Hey, let's have a match," right?
Yep.
Regardless, but that stuff was actually quite common.
Yeah.
I can remember back in the day, in the early days, like minimum I would say once a fortnight, someone would come to the gym. This is the Tassie days. Someone would come to the gym and be like, "Oh, hey, I want to test my style against your martial arts."
Is that right?
Yeah, fucking hey. And it was always Bo or one of the guys. I did a couple of them. Yeah, they just like spar, and it was sparring. But we were the thing was like when we were doing like Hapkido in Tassie in particular, like especially with Bo Forward, shout out to my mate Bo. We were exploring everything. We weren't like we were doing this is the art form we're learning. But then on our own time in day classes and stuff, we would do sparring and just go for it. Like there weren't any
There's no restrictions.
There's no restrictions and it's not, we weren't like UFC bashing each other. I mean, we were kicking the crap out of each other, but we were. It wasn't like, oh, you can only stand up, you can only strike. We would just do whatever worked.
Yeah.
And you would just spar, and then you get taken down. You try and work how to get back up, and whatever.
So you're kind of problem solving as you go.
Yeah, correct. And usually you were trying to work some kind of particular technique and kick and things into your sparring, and we were going pretty hard. So the thing is when those things came up, we were pretty comfy at just scrapping.
Yes.
And so those things would come up, and I had even a couple. We had a couple at the gym at EMA in Bogong where like someone would come through and be like, "Oh, I just want to do a class." They want to do a class, but they weren't there for a class. They were there to see what can we spar and can we do whatever. I'm like, look, man, we can do some sparring if you want, but it's not what we're doing here. And so we would always end up doing something, and then I'd kick someone in the head, and then someone would get mad, and then they'd leave, or like whatever it was.
Yes.
Or you just end up scrapping, and cool. It's very ugly, unpretty.
Yes.
And that's fine. Like it is what it is. But it was far more common back in the days, and so. And that's what I think. I think that was the thing. Is it was about in the old days. It was about. And I want to say the old days. I'm talking 200 plus years ago.
Yeah.
I just mean it was far more about clout. It was far more about making territory and going. I am the best person out here because I beat this person, so therefore people should come and learn from me. And that's what a lot of that was about. Was business. It was business.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was just hostile takeovers, hostile takeovers of territory, and and people understanding that.
But maybe with the less than stellar intentions.
Yeah.
Also came though hey, if your style beats style or my style beats your style.
Yeah.
Then typically you're still testing. There's a willingness to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And test, and if you lose, well, it's probably carries a lot more punishment.
And look, I'm thinking about this on the fly, but like if you think logically about it, hundreds of years ago, as people are training, they only know what's around them because you're living in a remote village in Chengdu or something, in China, and you're training, and you've really only got what's.
Well, I think even having said that, and I know. John Will makes this point fairly frequently that people, if you absolve the world of martial arts knowledge just martial arts never existed.
Yeah.
Combat never existed in the world.
Yep.
People would still, and it
Fight.
started. They would still fight.
Yep.
They would train,
Yep.
and they would come up with
Ways.
very similar ways in all corners of the globe.
Yeah, I love listening to John
Because
talk about
and he's spoken about it a number. There's only so many ways to move
that. 100%.
and to manipulate
Correct.
and to strike and whatever else.
Yeah, they would. If you haven't, I'll see if we can find that. We'll put that link in for John because it's like it is a great way of thinking of it. And he just talks about if you wiped the world and deleted it all and no one knew anything.
Yep.
In about 100 years, 200 years, 1,000 years, whatever it is, it would come back full circle again.
Yeah, that's
just
it.
would
And
end
it would be
up
the same,
being the same.
knowledge because people always have a thirst for that,
Yeah.
and obviously a thirst for harming others. But
He's
even,
a far more intelligent human than Cam and I combined. So you should,
he discusses it far more
listen
eloquently.
to him about that, not us.
But even I have seen, I think I have a copy somewhere, like a kung fu book from, it's like photos from 100 and something years ago,
Yeah.
where they have, now it's not exactly the same, but it's a rear naked choke.
Yeah.
And it's very close. And you're like, okay. And it's go, there's only so many ways that people are going to be doing this stuff. And, but I think a lot of it just comes down to people's willingness, and a lot of this is ego or money or whatever it is, clout, willingness to put themselves out there and learn through failure.
So this is the thing. One of the frustrating things that for me at the moment is, and I am not the only one. I'm because there's a bazillion people doing martial arts, but in the jiu-jitsu world right now, there is so much naming of people claiming and naming techniques. So they're like, this technique, it's called the fucking swinging, slinging, half Turkish snap heel kick, you know, and
You have to teach me that after class.
yeah, sure. And the I've already taught it to you. The thing is though, is it's like what's old is new again. There's so many there's so many techniques that we would do and like inspiring, you'll do something. And it's not a name of a technique. It's just a thing you do because, in this situation, this is how you get past that arm.
Yeah.
But it's not a technique. And now people are naming them. And it's like, and it's just like this, and because of the internet.
It's the social media age.
And they go, hey, look what I do. And all these other people have never seen it before. And they go, this is the name of that thing. And you're like, no, that's not, what do you mean? That's
it's
a thing. That's
like a...
That's a navigation thing.
Yes.
This is just getting from point A to point B, and now you're calling it something.
Yep.
People have been doing that in jiu-jitsu for fucking ages. People have evolved it, and people have created new things.
Like submissions,
but like the reality is we're talking about, when I grab the ankle now, I do this, and I put my foot here instead of here. And it's like the same variation of an angle log, you're just applying it with a different angle.
Yes.
And that's okay. There's nothing, I haven't had anything against any of that stuff. There's not a problem. But to our point, it's like people will always come up with, and I'm not guilty. I'm guilty of doing this in a way that the amount of times I've done a technique and I've gone, especially like Hapkido sparring, even in the early days of jiu-jitsu, in my brain, my stupid brain, I remember being a white belt and being like, I just learned, really early, I just learned sort of back take. I started taking the back from mount, really early days. And I was thinking about a thing, and I started doing in training, I just started blocking the elbow and then going, if I push him this way, he'll turn,
and that
block.
exposes the back.
Look, when I reach behind, he said I can grab his wrist. And then I'm like, I grab his wrist, and I pull him, and then I take his back.
Yeah.
And I remember going to my coach and going, hey, check this out. Is this a thing? I think I found something that's really cool. And I'm blocking, and I'm turning, and he looks at me and goes, it's gift wrap.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's a thing.
That exists.
And so that's obviously something that, but I had never been shown that up at that point, but because I was someone that liked exploring the techniques, I started finding stuff that made sense to me in those moments.
Yes.
And then I didn't invent gift wrap back taking. In my mind, I did for about 2 weeks. and then I showed my coach.
I'm a fucking genius.
Yeah,
I'm a jiu-jitsu savant.
I'm a martial arts genius. I'm a martial arts lyrical genius. Anyway, but the point was, it was like, and so from my coach went, that's cool, well done on finding that, and that's awesome, but that's a thing. And I'm like, this is how we do that better. Then he showed me more details on it.
Yes,
and
it gets better and better.
And I'm like, wicked. Even right now, I'm going through this with most of my students. I have a few of them, even our mate Dan, love you Dan. Dan will be like, hey, is this a thing? And he's finding, and it's cool though, because he's finding these techniques and things from the game that he's playing right now.
Yep.
And he's like, what about this? And it's like, and he's just starting to connect the dots and link the techniques into other techniques. Oh, when I go here, I step over here and I can still get this armbar. I'm like, that's awesome. It's called a switch armbar. Yeah. And it's like, that's great. And but it's awesome that he's found that on his own because he's starting to understand how to connect the dots. That's great. And I'm like, that's awesome. Yeah, do the thing. And he still has a different take on, I would never have seen that technique the way that he sees it because he's a different human and he's a different body. And that's the way he's getting there. Yeah. The technique itself exists. And this is how, and then I went back and went, this is where I learned it from, how I learned it, but apply it to the way you're doing it. Great, good stuff.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with it. But he didn't create the
way
DB arm lock.
Yeah,
and that's what's happening at the moment in a lot of the jiu-jitsu space. Where I'm getting off topic here, but
I think maybe and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe where you're going is that almost every martial art goes through this where it's
evolution
of.
It has to.
But there's good evolution, and then there's
everyone else who gets
maybe
left behind.
sideways. You might. It's not necessarily bad because in some, like again, jiu-jitsu, there's a lot of stuff which you would, and I think Chris Burns is fantastic for his message of. They can touch my face.
Bad.
I don't. Bad.
Touch face bad.
Equals bad.
I touch your face good.
That's it.
I love that. It's simple messaging.
Simple messaging and great when you go, because I can get to this awesome position, but if they can
still
punch me in the face, that's not great.
Yeah.
Now, it depends on your why.
100%.
And this is one of the big points with like martial arts being relevant, like traditional martial arts being relevant in 2026, largely depends on your why.
Correct. What are you training for?
Why, if you're doing Tai Chi for purely because the
movement, health, community,
relaxation and whatnot,
send it.
Amazing.
100%.
That's relevant for you.
Yeah.
If you're doing Tai Chi because you want to be the baddest warrior on the face of the earth.
Do you want to be the dragon warrior?
The dragon warrior. I know Kung Fu! then maybe Tai Chi is not for you.
That might be the name of the episode, by the way. I know Kung Fu.
All right. See, that's actually good.
That's actually good.
I like it. But Kung Fu is let's use that as an example because I did Kung Fu.
It was the first martial art I ever trained.
And the reason I did it was because I wanted to be like Jackie Chan and or Jet Li and or the rest of them. And I remember doing it and being 2 years in and going, I know nothing. Like in real terms, like this is it's physical, it's acrobatic, it scratches a certain itch.
Sure.
But it didn't line up with the why of, oh, hang on. So if I actually get into a situation, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing here? And that's where, so that is probably, if we're talking the broader sense of martial arts being for, hey, we're creating good humans and physical movement, whatever else, most martial arts are going to meet that need. But if we're talking being capable humans in a martial sense, maybe, you really have to start to think about what you're training and how you're training it.
Totally. I was the same. I started Kung Fu as a little kid because my dad told me I had to go train Kung Fu. I didn't have a choice, and this is what you're doing. I'm like, all right.
Yep.
We're doing the thing. And I can remember doing the patterns and the forms and like thoroughly enjoying it.
Yeah.
It was really fucking fun.
Yeah.
And because I felt like a ninja. I'm doing I'm doing the whole lot. And I had trained in also, I trained a bunch, I trained traditional Shaolin Kung Fu.
Yep.
And like body awareness and like I realized that I was like, oh, I like kicking. Because the forms that I like doing the most are the ones that had the most kicks.
Yes.
And a lot of them had low spinning heel kicks and turning spinning stuff. And I was actually coordinated enough as a young kid to be able to I could kind of do those.
Yep.
I don't know, if I think back now, I don't know if there's any footage. And if it does, it's probably non-existent on the kind of technology that would be...
Potato quality?
Yeah, like potato quality. I don't even know if there would be. But I don't even know if our family owned a camera. Like a video camera of any kind of... Because they were really expensive back in the day.
Yeah.
When the fucking giant ones. No one I knew had one.
Yeah.
Anyway, but the I can remember doing those things, and I can remember being in school and being the Asian kid in school and like, oh, he does Kung Fu and all that sort of stuff, and having a few scrappy things. But me not really how connecting the dots between how do I translate form practice and traditional form technical work to this guy trying to just punch me in the face like
Yep.
this a lot, you know? And the thing was, is I managed not to do those techniques, but just hit him. just
like,
hit him.
just
give him one. And like, and the thing was, if you do a spinning kick on someone who doesn't know anything, and even if it misses, they tend to think twice about coming forward again. And so it was
but maybe that's actually part of the broader argument, because I know this is when, and it seems to me from, I don't get involved in a lot of these conversations because typically we don't sit here and talk about
the relevance.
whose style is better and whatever. It's not something that, because like all things are relevant depending upon your why.
100%.
But it also depends a lot of, whenever people discuss martial arts in this sense, they're assuming that if someone attacks you, they're going to be they're going to be a trained assassin.
Yeah.
Like, that's likely not the case.
No.
If someone attacks you, they probably know, if you've been training martial arts
5/10 of fuck all.
yeah. So you've been training martial arts for a period of time, they probably know way less than you do.
That's it.
And so really, you're not going to need, 1,000 different tools.
The amount of things that you see on the internet, and it's so, because there's so
Yeah.
much footage now, so much footage of real life street fights, so much footage of people getting checked. This is the thing. Most men, and I'm going to just go blanket statement for men at this stage. Most men think in their minds they can fight.
Have you've seen the people,
100%.
the street? Oh, so
100%.
can you fight?
Can you fight? Yeah.
Why do you
Show
think
me.
that? Oh, well, I just see red. Right?
Yeah. So this is the thing, right? But there's so much as well of people going unchecked in this world.
Yes.
The amount of people, so the amount of men that went through high school was like, oh yeah, what are you going to do about it? And no one ever did anything about
Yep.
it. So that becomes their like, I will drop you, because they're going big alpha, puffy chests.
Yeah.
And when you come across the person that goes, okay, let's go. And there's a couple of great examples of like older men who are, let's call them 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever. And they tend to be bigger guys, bigger guys who've just always been the bigger guy in their like friendship group or whatever. And no one's ever called them out when they go, I will fucking drop you, bro. Like, get out of my face. I'll fucking kill you. And then that small dude goes,
okay,
all right.
let's go.
And you watch them go, oh,
No,
that's not how that works. I'm big, you're small, that's not gonna... Now, then some of them go, okay, and then they go, and then the little dude just bing, and it's over. Because most people just don't actually train.
Yes.
You may have had some scraps when you were in high school, and you were the tough kid at school, and you were all those sort of things. But if you didn't continue to scrap, and you didn't go and actually... And you didn't even, to be honest, and this is the reality, if you never trained martial arts, but every week you got into fights, and you continuously were like a terrible human that just went out and started fighting people all the time, that actual experience counts for something. Because you're used to the adrenaline dump, you're used to getting hit, you're used to hitting people. And you're used to making that choice. Doesn't mean you're going to be good at it, but it does count. Because
Absolutely.
if you've continually scrapping and punching people and hitting people and getting hit, it doesn't count for training. I'm not suggesting go out there and just...
No, but you compare that to the person who trains for 20 years but never hit anything.
Or even that one kid that was, like said, that scrapped all the time in high school and then as an adult just never got checked again. You haven't done it for 10 or 15 years or whatever it is, right? And so you're used to just threatening people and people backing down.
Yeah.
So you get good at the threatening portion, but then when someone goes, all right, you shit yourself because you're like, oh, hold on, wait, what do you mean?
Do I really want to...
You're not fit. You have no idea how that feels. You have there's just so much that goes through that. But sorry, I'm getting way off course on these. But I guess I'm going to bring this back to the martial arts stuff. Okay, so one of the things I'm trying to get to with all of this is, I wholeheartedly believe in all martial arts.
Yep.
I respect and enjoy. I love watching Aikido online. I love watching the techniques. I think it's beautiful.
Yes.
I think it's a wonderful art form.
Yes.
I think it's almost completely useless in modern application when against another trained person.
Yes.
I think the time and place for the applications of like Aikido techniques, skilled versus unskilled.
Yep.
You can survive with your Aikido to a degree, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If you are someone that trains martial arts with the view of understanding how to learn something and then working on yourself of application.
Yep.
There are plenty of Aikido practitioners that could wholeheartedly defend themselves against almost any untrained person that tried to attack them in any form. Because that's what the base art is supposed to be for. Someone swung something at them and they have put themselves and pressure tested themselves in their own training, in their own time, maybe in their own dojo, with their teacher that's put them in scenarios to go, hey, this is how we learn the technique. And now we're going to just start upping the level of intensity. Someone's going to push harder. They're really going to start resisting. And you can start pressure testing that. Nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
Yep.
And I think those people can do it. The problem is you get so many of them that go, right, when they grab you, this is the technique we do, but they never pressure test it. They never up the level of intensity. They never have the evolution of the art happen to them, and they get caught in the fantasy of compliant training partners.
100%.
And that goes across all martial arts.
Isn't that the thing of it's compliance?
Compliance
is the devil of whatever it is. Like compliance is the look, you need compliance.
You need to learn,
a certain point.
100%.
But after a certain point, you need to start going, because I know one of a big change of, it's actually been over quite a few years, but with the Hapkido, the way that yourself and Scott teach it is, it's not just doing the technique, because the technique is never going to appear.
No.
And people most likely aren't going to grab your wrist.
Give me your money.
No, grab it the other way.
Sorry, cross hand.
But but it's getting to the technique.
100%.
And there's ways, and now there's strikes first, there's movement, you're not just standing still waiting for that. There's ways of getting to that point. And that's the whole thing of we'll just keep going on Aikido for a second. If someone's always striking at you with that kind of downward sword style strike, and that's all you know. Yeah. And you're like, I redirect.
When someone throws your jab cross at your head, fucking changes your will.
Yeah. Or if someone throws a jab, you're not catching that.
No, you're not. Catch a jab.
And
no good Aikido person would actually say that the jab, like no one's trying to do Aikido from a jab.
No, that's it.
They're doing it. The idea of the idea, and I've said this in class when we're doing Jin-Up Bobs and we're talking about this sort of stuff. These techniques, those kinds of techniques, aren't built for the jab. They're built for the idea of the Moryu Shiba, the founder of Aikido, starve your opponent of their attack until they commit. So you frustrate them, you take your defense stuff until they fully commit to their attack, and then you take your moment, which is true. But it's like, cool, and I've quite literally done that to people.
Yes.
In live situations and in like training and stuff.
Yeah.
And like, I've got a really good video of doing it to Vish. But that's another whole thing. But the point to all of that sort of stuff is it's everything's relevant to the context of what you're trying to achieve.
It's context dependent.
Correct.
And if you don't know the context, so if you've never been given, if you've only been given, and I actually take a step back. I think I said this to you a while ago. I view martial arts in general as like an RPG game. And when you start out, you have the map is in front of you.
Yeah.
And you can only see a really small portion of the map.
Yeah.
And then as you get more experience, you're exploring more of the map.
100%.
And the more of the map you know, the more context you have.
Correct.
But if I only know I've got like one corner, I've got like this tiny little
stay over in your one
piece of the map, and you've explored the entire thing. Yeah. Well, you're going to fuck me up. There's no comparison.
I've leveled up way.
You've leveled up way.
I'm way overpowered.
It's like God mode over here. All my things are on 1, and you're on 10.
Correct.
And we all know, like,
and this
there's
is
no
the
comparison.
And this is the thing. Over the years, I have in so many scenarios of we were talking about this yesterday, I think it was. There's like, I'm always he's the martial, like every job we've ever had.
Yes.
Every, whatever I'm in, it's like, oh yeah, he trains martial arts, he's fucking like this guy. And then you always have that one dude at the office party, or the one, what would you do if you do this? And you're like, okay, yeah, well, you're the guy. And which is fine. And so the context that I'm bringing to that is, martial arts over the years, if you've never trained and you don't know anything, and you come up against a really skilled martial artist, I think the most skilled Aikido practitioner I know is Joe Thumbu.
Yep.
Personally know.
Yes.
Really good human, an incredible martial artist.
Yeah.
He is a really small statured person.
Yes.
He's not a giant 6'5" person, but has been training Aikido his entire life. Joe versus any human who just never done anything, he's gonna seem like a wizard.
Yes.
He is gonna seem like he knows
magic.
because his footwork, his timing, his ability to be able to manipulate you into a position that is advantageous for him,
Yep.
is going to be way out of the realms of someone who knows nothing, and that's going to be someone that's big too.
Yes.
That's just a testament to Joe's dedication to the arts. Sorry, Shihan Joe, not just Joe.
Yep.
Shihan Joe's dedication to his art form, and his depth of understanding of the techniques that he knows.
Yes.
And that's what I mean. It's the same thing. It's the same thing of like, you could say the same thing about Wing Chun, your Kung Fu.
You take any
style.
But that's also the context in which he has trained
Correct.
over the course of the 20, 30, 40 years, whatever it is.
Correct. And so this is the thing. When you get and he's a good example. He's a smaller stature person. If he's worked in a corporate environment. I don't know this for a fact. I'm just assuming because I've lived the martial arts life myself.
Yep.
I am assuming, and I'm going to ask him about this, and hopefully he'll correct me. He's had those moments.
Hey, Joe, so what would you do
Oh,
here?
Joe over there. Joe over there he's the martial arts guy. And then, what would you do if and he's just going to have put people across tables and finger locked them into the ground. And like all those sort of things. And they're like, oh man, Joe's like amazing. And he is amazing. He is an amazing martial artist.
Yes.
But it's like, for Joe, that's really simple stuff.
Yes.
It's nothing that's magic.
Yep.
It's nothing that's difficult to do. It's just his understanding's far above the person that he's talking to. And they go, and he goes, finger lock, wrist lock, whatever.
Yep.
That's actually really easy stuff to do once you know what you're doing.
Yes.
I have on numerous occasions blown people's minds, and they look at you like you've just created fire because they'll do something and you just do something instinctively.
Yep.
Usually for me, it's always the office Christmas party. Someone's had a couple of drinks, and it's never anything bad. No one's ever doing anything mean, but they walk up and go, "What'd you do?" And for me, it's just less block, boom, foot on face. Like boom, boom, and like the amount of times I've been having a conversation with someone goes and I go smack, and just give them a little slap, and it's fast enough that they don't even see it, and hard enough for them to go,
Oh,
whoa,
what happened?
What happened?
Where did that come from?
Where did that come from? And that's not magic. It's just, it's nothing to do with anything other than that person doesn't know anything. and they're being a bit of a dick. And you give them a little but, which is like one of the first things you'll ever learn when you go and do some blocking and some countering.
Yes.
But to untrained people, it looks like,
they're like, holy shit, how did you do that?
The devil's magic.
Yes.
You know, and so
burn you at the stake.
Stuff. So, but that's what I mean. It's like skill gap counts for a lot.
But so if you again, so that's I suppose probably coming up from the perspective of why are you training and what are you training in? And we've removed all the complete LARPing kind of yellow bamboo system, all this shit where it is complete and utter fantasy.
Yeah, absolutely. You take those out. Yeah,
I don't think
they're not even martial arts.
they're not at this point. Yeah,
they're full on cults.
They're full on cults.
They're full on cults that are like, and I'm going to say this openly, if you train with someone right now that is telling you that they can manipulate people's energy, and I mean that in the literal sense of the word of like when they attack. Now, I'm not, a blanket statement. If you can throw energy balls at people and make them stop and like make their heart stop because you can, because your energy key can block, then you are in a cult.
Yep.
You are not training a martial art.
Yep.
They are lying to you, and it's basically a Ponzi scheme.
Correct.
So it's like, unless it's free of charge.
Run for your life.
Just run for your life. Get out, go train something else.
Yep.
Now, can I stop someone's heart with a single punch? In theory, if I hammer fisted you right across your heart, right, and you stood there and did nothing about it, and I hit you right in your heart, right on the right spot, in theory, you could send enough physical force through the chest to stop the heart, because essentially when you perform CPR, you're pumping someone's chest, right? And you're physically getting the heart to move. You're trying to get the heart restarted.
Yep.
The same theory would apply if you hit them in the chest. So in theory, you can technically punch someone and like...
I think we should say, like, nothing happens in a vacuum.
No, yeah.
So theoretically, there's a lot of stuff that, and this is the danger of, especially when it comes to, like I said, a lot of Aikido. Hey, so just grab here or grab there. So if you do this, and if you grab me in this specific way, I will do
X.
this, and I'll use this, whatever the technique, angle, pressure, force, and then you'll comply because you're in a whole lot of fucking pain.
Yeah.
And if you let someone do that to you, it's horrible.
Yeah.
It's absolutely horrible.
Yeah. Wrist locks suck. They're awesome because they're painful as shit.
Yeah, but that's right. They suck. But nothing happens in a vacuum, and no one grabs you and lets you wrist lock them. And that's the context of either getting to a position where they're disoriented and the wrist presents itself, or they've grabbed you in a way and they have no idea what's going on. Yeah. But nothing, and that's part of the argument of, is it relevant? Because nothing happens in a vacuum, and if you're training to get there, amazing.
Yeah, this is the thing. You can go like applying, like when Hapkido does tons of wrist locking and tons of, grab it and circle here and do this lock. And most of that context, right, in real life self-defense scenarios, if you're training and that person doesn't train, generally when they get to the grippy stuff, they freeze. And they get really stiff and they get, and it's all strengthy based. So hit them, move to the correct angle, and because they're trying to hang on, it lends itself
and the
to...
wrist presents itself.
The wrist presents.
Yep.
But grabbing, the grabbing and then all I'm doing is grabbing and turning with zero change of those things, that's where that stuff doesn't work.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. But anyway, that comes down to your teacher. And that's what I mean. Aikido in that sense of the word, which is what we're talking about, totally works.
Yes.
Because when you get that untrained person and when you get to fisticuffs and they've never trained and they freak out because they just grab on and hang on because they don't know what they do, the footy pusher jumper stuff, that stuff totally works. If you have trained well enough and put yourself in scenarios where you can, or you've pressure tested and you understand how to then get to that position, you'll be fine.
Yes, 100%.
And that's what I mean. Anyway.
Well, so if let's leave Aikido alone.
Yes,
we picked on them for enough time. But so because one of the big Aikido kind of always seems to be
it's Steven Seagal's fault.
Yeah, it's absolutely Steven Seagal's fault. But it's almost easy pickings.
Yeah.
It's like we can pick on that easily. One of the other ones that kind of gets thrown under the bus as well is Taekwondo.
Sure.
And especially in the current realm of
Taekwondo. Fucking VR Taekwondo.
Touchless martial arts.
Absolutely
right. But I don't want to discuss that because that at this point it's just becoming esports rather than
that's
a
not
martial art
anymore.
So it's effectively like people going and doing FIFA soccer tournaments.
Correct. I'm the FIFA world champion on
FIFA
esports.
world champ. Yep.
Awesome,
esports.
good stuff. But you couldn't hang with the EPL person.
I'm a Call of Duty world champion. Yeah,
Great.
but you're not a real special forces operator.
Correct.
So you can't translate
You're
that
saying
skill.
I'm not a sniper. I'm not a world-class sniper.
I never said you.
What do you mean, man? What do you mean? I have spent hundreds of hours sniping online.
Now,
which is actually true.
I
spent so much time doing that.
I
couldn't.
Having said that, the one that does translate is car racing, because there was a guy it was a Melbourne Grand Prix a few years ago where they had the celebrity race, and the guy they chose some guy won entry into the celebrity race. I think it was a celebrity race, and he had been practicing the Melbourne course on his PlayStation or Xbox, and actually won the race because he knew corner speed, angles to take, everything. And it's like, okay, so if I break here, go in here,
go hard.
Go hard, because that's
the physics in the game have advanced so much. Yeah, that
it's the same. But if you do,
but then you put him on another course. If you went to another course you'd never raced before, you'd have no shot.
Nothing.
You'd have no shot.
But if you go, but I play Tekken and I'm Hwarang, and I kick people, I do this and I kick people. Like, yeah, but you can't do that in real life.
Do you know what the interesting translate for me? Just we're going to sidebar on that one is golf, because I've been playing a bunch of like online golf on my PlayStation, which is really fun. So I know the like club selections for certain courses
Yes.
that I've been playing. So when I eventually go to Augusta National for the PGA,
Yep.
I'm going to be ready. Because I know I need I need my fucking 3-iron on hole 5 so I can
Now
get
you still need to be able. You still need to be able to
hit the thing.
Hit the thing.
But
But
my club selection is going to be great.
no, but it probably also does translate. Again, translates more because it's a narrower. Like the skill is still
But
huge.
the technology that's come far enough with that to back it, because they're
Yes.
allowing for wind, they're allowing the physics in the games
That's
themselves are as close
That's
to
it.
sort of
Yeah.
being live as they are.
But when you start taking,
Could you? So are you saying that if you've played UFC 4 on PlayStation,
Look.
and you understand how to hit the submissions and hit the we're the same.
now, your submission knowledge might be greater. Like you might actually, and I think this is you might go the average punter who watches the UFC knows what a rear naked choke looks like. They know what an armbar looks like. They know what ground and pound, whatever. They know the idea of top pressure and head positioning on the fence when you're grappling. But can you do that? Does it translate? Now, some people it may do more than others, but does it ever go? You come into class and you're like, oh, I know what an armbar is. You're like, yeah, but
Can you do one?
can you do one? Hip positioning.
Yeah.
Do you? Where's the elbow?
The answer is no.
And-
The answer is
and-
absolutely not.
And the answer is like it's like you know what a punch is, but is it actually?
Can you actually?
Can you actually punch?
The amount of door knocking I've ever seen in my life.
I remember. I'll never forget being told. I forget what belt it was, but it was. It might have even been red belt. And so when we do Hepketo, like the technique sets for the gradings, you do a set, and typically it finishes with someone on the ground. You're pinning them in a position, and you strike. And after one of the gradings, you took me aside and you're like, if I ever see you rabbit punch someone again, you're
I
done.
was going to lose it. I remember that. It was just like, beep.
Yep. And it's not even,
What
it's
the
just- you're like, what the fuck is that?
What is that? It's not fucking-
Just
dick flicking him.
actually
Just like-
punch
just
the
punch, just
person.
fucking punch. Please do it like
Please
you're gonna
do it.
punch someone.
Correct.
Yeah, well, this is the thing.
So that was a really big tangent.
Yeah, it was a big tangent.
But my coming back to the original point was arts like if we say, because the more traditional arts, Taekwondo and karate, probably fall into the same trap as Aikido. When you are reliant, hey, we do these forms, maybe we don't spar, or we do very limited rule sparring. Maybe it's touch sparring. No one knows what it's like to get punched in the face, and we're only defending from one specific type of attack. I'm going to reverse punch you, and then you're going to do your technique, and then we all go home happy.
Sure.
Is that still I know the answer to this. Is that still relevant in 2026, or where are we at?
So I guess this is the thing. I know plenty. Let's do karate. Let's talk about karate for a bit. I love karate. I think it's a wonderful martial art.
I love karate too.
I also think it sits for me it wholeheartedly comes down to who's teaching you.
Yes.
Because I know plenty of karateka that are really good martial artists.
Yeah.
Wholeheartedly believe all of them could defend themselves against untrained people.
Yep.
And most of them can defend themselves pretty well against trained people.
Yes.
Because they still spar.
Yep.
They pressure test. They do the things. They still teach kata and form and do all of that. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
Yep.
And that's fantastic. But they're skilled martial artists because they take their martial arts seriously. They take their training seriously. They train the art form portion, but they also pressure test. They are actually getting in there and sparring, and their gradings still involve doing sparring.
Yep.
Same again though. They run gradings, and it's relative to their level. It's relative to the people training. Like, should everyone get a black belt? I think everyone should be capable of achieving a level of black belt.
Yes.
If you start martial arts at 50 and you're a white belt, you should be able to achieve a black belt in whatever art you're trying to achieve to the best standard that you are capable of achieving. Because what's your why? Maybe it's just because you want to do something social and you want to be fit and you make some friends and you find a community that you fit into. I think that's worthy of black belt.
Yep.
Are you ever going to be a world champion at the Kyokushin Nationals? Maybe not.
Probably not.
Like, are you ever going to be the Jiu-Jitsu world champion? Maybe not. Maybe you are.
Maybe you are.
But
But
But it just means that you should be able to be capable of
Yes.
achieving some goals within that space.
yes,
That also means that a 50-year-old, just by the nature of what we're doing, we're 40s, we're in our 40s. Our 40-year-old starting is going to be a different black belt to the 16-year-old
Yes.
that trains for 10 years and gets their black belt at 26 or 20 or whatever it is.
Yep.
Because you should be super capable at 20. You should be able to do the jumping, spinning kicks. You should be able to do all the crazy, amazing techniques and have crazy form because you fucking live with your parents. You don't have a job and you should
no
be able to focus on
responsibility.
training.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So like those are all. It's all relative on a sliding scale of what you're trying to do.
yes,
And so, but then I know plenty of. I know of. I should say I don't know plenty of terrible karateka because I'm not friends with them. But I know plenty of
know
styles. I know of plenty of styles that get taught, and I know of styles that training and teaching, and the level of black belts absolutely atrocious, and they
Yes.
shouldn't be black
Yes.
belts because, like, if you can't do a baseline kick above your waistline when you're capable of doing it, you shouldn't be a black belt for that. So that's the thing.
yeah, yeah.
But so like just in that same style, and I'll use karate as an example, and like kung fu falls under this category, or all the styles. When you look at one of the big things that a lot of the a lot of people coming to martial arts now go, oh, UFC is all there is, and I want to do MMA, and I want to train this because I want to be like, hard,
Yep.
and I want to be practical and all that, which is great. I'm not interested in doing patterns. I'm not interested in doing kata. I'm not
forms
interested
are
in pumse.
useless, yeah.
Forms are useless. Forms are not useless. Kata, pumse, patterns, whatever you call it in your art form,
Yep.
have immense learning tools. They're wonderful for body awareness,
Yep.
training, technical mastery is
Yes.
what that stuff is about.
Yep.
The other thing that most like pumse, kata, and all those things come from is remembering your syllabus. Hundreds of years ago, as we were there, people traveled, people went around
Yep.
and did things. Do you think that they wrote down every single technique they ever did? No, they might have had. There are some manuals. Obviously, there's
Yeah.
some old like kung fu manuals which are really famous, and you can see them, the documentation of
Yep.
those things. Most people didn't write shit down. Most people couldn't read or fucking write.
Yep.
Scholars could do that stuff, so some people documented things. Kata and forms were a way of remembering syllabus
Yes.
and remembering what was within the depths of our martial art.
Yeah.
So when you look, like karate call it bunkai.
Yep.
Is the
Yeah,
meaning,
the application.
the application and meaning inside the pattern and the form. And so you've got all the you've got the techniques, and you see people see all the like block with the wrist movements and things, and it looks very fancy and very crazy. But you're blocking, you're kakate blocking, like as you're coming up, you're breaking the thing, and then you're striking the eyes with that sort of stuff. That's fine. If I put my fingers like this and struck you in the eye right now,
I'd rather
it'd
you
hurt
not.
like shit. Absolutely works. It's contextual based. But so when you're learning patterns and forms, back in the day, the idea of that was how masters and teachers remembered their syllabus.
Yes.
This is how they kept a record in their brains of remembering the patterns and the techniques. And then when someone attacked us here, this is the technique we use for those things. And you put them into a form and a pattern, so you had a way of remembering it.
Yep.
And like that, I think a lot of people misunderstand.
Well, I think isn't it interesting that the more access to knowledge we have, seemingly the less knowledge
we need.
Well, the less knowledge people consume. So they seem to go, well, forms are shit, so why don't I want to learn forms?
Yeah, I don't want to do that, yeah.
But if you take 10 minutes to look up why are forms still used, it's very evident why they're used. And I get it, you're like, I just want to go and punch, and I just want to, spar and do whatever else.
This is the thing. Let's sorry, I'm going to cut you.
No, you go.
This is the thing. Let's use wrestling, right? Wrestling as an example. Incredibly difficult art form.
Yep.
Hugely athletic.
Yep.
Huge, powerful, explosive, all of those things. Zero striking. No striking, can't punch, can't kick, can't do anything, don't learn any of that stuff.
Yep.
But incredibly good at hitting humans with the world.
Yes.
Picking you up, slamming you
And
on
if
the
a
ground.
wrestler gets hold of you, good luck.
Good luck. Yeah. This is the thing. If you were to, if I was to train with a wrestling friend, I've got some good wrestling friends, some really high level wrestling friends. If I was to train with them and then learn some wrestling throws, and then if I, Alex, decided to go, hey, I'm going to chain together 3 or 4 throws together. I'm going to go for my single leg, and then as they counter, I'm going to go for a knee tap, and as they counter, I'm going to body lock, and then I'm going to lift them and suplex them into the ground.
Yep.
And then I practice that over and over and over again.
In a sequence.
In a sequence, that would be a fucking kata, wouldn't it? It'd be a form. It'd be a practice of form.
Look out.
But the thing would be, is like, because it's not how that's viewed,
But-
it's like, but do you know what? Me as a person, I 100% would do that.
But let's take that again.
And then if I chained 20 of them together, it would be some big ridiculous form that would never happen. But in my mind, the way I'm viewing that technique was, if I hit one, I've got 2, and I can remember that, when I get to hit this spot, it's a way of remembering for me what techniques are relevant to what position.
But let's take to take it a step further. If you do kickboxing or boxing, and you
Pad
are
work
doing
combinations.
pad work combinations, that's the same as a form.
100%.
You are very rarely going to hit a 15 punch combination on someone.
Unless you're playing Tekken.
Correct.
Juggles.
And which
I want to learn the juggles. I literally had a guy come in and say, ask me that one time. Have I told you that? No. He was like, hey, when do we learn to do, like, in Tekken, you like juggles? Like, you juggle the person, you do like heaps of kicks in a row to like hit the person.
Yeah.
And like, he literally was like, is that something we learn in Hapkido? I was like, what? And I was like, do you mean actually lifting someone off the
can you,
ground
like,
and kicking them in the air? And he was like, well, yeah, but like, I want to learn like combinations of like when I want to be able to put like 10 of those together. And I was like, what? I was so confused. That was a legitimate conversation I had with a new person who came in. It was many years ago. Anyway, sorry. Anyway, we digress. Yes, pad work combinations.
Pad work
in
combinations
kickboxing.
are
Same thing.
kind of a modern version of a form because you're never going to hit even when a professional boxer hits 4 or 5 punch combo,
Massive.
mind blowing
Mind blown, yeah.
because people don't stand still.
Correct. Yeah. When you watch boxers do those ridiculous speed work pad drills where they're like and the pad guy's basically putting the pad where they want it. It's got zero to do with like actual this is the right when you get in there, mate, let's go for combination 17. It's just like that's not how that works.
Yeah.
But you're working timing, footwork,
Yep.
training, head movement, in, out, distance management. Like there's all these things that go along with it.
Correct.
And that's fine. That's great. No one argues about it because they're like, oh, that's boxing.
No, but that's the maybe the more modern version of
Yeah.
the form that's been around for 100 years.
Yeah.
And it's the same. You're getting similar benefits from both.
So I guess, look, we're going to have to bring this to a close soon. But the question we started with at this is, are they relevant? Are modern, are traditional
martial arts
relevant? My answer has to be for all of this is that if every martial art, it doesn't matter what art form you're training, if you can train it in the right way with the right teacher, and show and give you the right information,
Yes.
and understand what you are learning in the context you're learning and what your why is, I think they're all very relevant.
Yes.
I think they're all 100%. They all can be relevant. I think there's a parent of one of the children who trains here. I believe he trains in traditional like praying mantis style kung fu.
Yep.
He seems incredibly content in training that style. My mind says that that's absolutely ridiculous. But for whatever his why is for training it, and he seems quite like a confident human, and like he brought his child here to train to do something because he likes the way we do stuff. And so that's great. He's doing the thing. If traditional praying mantis style kung fu makes you happy and you're getting the thing that you want out of that martial art, fantastic. I will wholeheartedly. We've never trained together. I've never done the thing. I've only met a couple of people who've trained like mantis style kung fu, and they've had some really interesting takes on the martial arts of that. Like I'll chat with them because I'm super interested. I'm super interested in all martial arts.
It's anything martial arts.
Anything martial arts based. Tell me about it. Educate me on why. Now I'm going to make my own decisions about that as I go, and especially if we get to do some hands-on stuff, I can feel straight away whether you know what you're doing or not.
You're also far more open than I would say a lot of people are.
Oh, yeah, I love it.
because
I love all martial arts.
your question. Oh, actually, I'll come back to the kung fu thing in a second because I think it's worth revisiting.
Yeah.
But I got two answers to the question.
Sure, okay.
If we take the landscape as it currently stands, are traditional martial arts relevant in 2026?
Sure.
I would say for the most part, no. But that's only because of the way they're mainly trained.
100%.
But I think to your point, if it comes down to if your teacher if you're looking at the application, there's pressure testing, or you understand your why, and you are 100%. We've talked about this before. Being honest with yourself about why you're training, then absolutely they can be relevant, and even as far as they can be both a health and body mind fitness practice,
totally,
as well as an applicable martial art.
100%. Okay, look, kendo.
Yeah.
Kendo, the like sword form, sparring, they have all the pressure testing. It's real, it's live.
Yeah.
There's form practice, there's patterns, there's all those things. Who the fuck's carrying a sword around these days?
Every now and then.
Oh, well, sorry, if you live in Springvale, maybe. But or Sunshine. But no, But like, I mean, it's completely irrelevant for modern day self-defense training
100%.
in the sort of, I'm going to my car, unless you happen to be walking out of your kendo class. Now, I've never trained kendo in any form. So I've never trained a class. I've never been to a class. So I can't. I'm saying from an uneducated kendo.
But unless you do empty hand practice,
correct. Unless you're doing any empty hand practice with it, and I actually don't know if kendo practices any empty hand stuff. I don't know at all. I have to ask one of my kendo friends about that. I can probably Google it. But is kendo an irrelevant martial art? I would say no. I believe one of the hardest gradings to pass in the world is a 4th degree kendo.
Is that right?
Yeah, I will. We will pop a link in this one.
Yep.
I believe now. I watched this a while ago, so the stats might have changed, but it has to pass your 4th degree black belt. I think it has something. It's a high 80s failure rate of so you test for it. And to pass it, I'm going to butcher it. I'm not even going to try and tell you what the criteria is, but we will find it. I'll find the link for it. And it has, I think, every year there's only a handful of people that get to test for it, and every year about 80% of them fail. And I think it takes something like 6 or 7 attempts before people actually pass. And there's only a handful of them in the world.
That's cool.
And so above that's even less. So I think that's awesome because it's keeping that level. The standard they keep really high.
But isn't that, and we've talked about this many times, it comes back to your own standards and your own why about what you're doing and being honest with yourself about why you're training.
But you know what you don't see? You don't see many fat kendo practitioners.
You don't.
Because they're fit, they have to work hard on the things, the amount of work they do, the effort they put in.
Reaction,
the
and
reaction,
your agility,
timing,
being able to move in and out.
That's what I mean.
It's insane.
And so that's what I mean. They're the sort of modern day, Masashis.
They are.
Masashi guys. Watch Bucky Hammer.
Actually, so just quickly on the whole kung fu thing, because it leads me to think of Tai Chi, and there's a guy, and I will pop a link in for this one, Ramsey Dewey, who's he teaches MMA out of Shanghai in China.
Cool.
And super knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little off base, but really knowledgeable, and especially when it comes to application through the bunkai, but of the Tai Chi forms, is there's a lot of crossover between what he sees in Tai Chi, and if you unpack it, to modern martial arts and specifically MMA. And so I think, again, it depends on what you're training, how deep you go. Are you just training for the fun of it?
Yeah.
In which case you might have a great breadth, or do you go deep and you're looking at what you do, where it's just that eternal curiosity over why things work and how to get there and how to progress and make it more applicable for you. Yeah. But I think it's a fascinating kind of look at. It all really comes back to the individual and who you train with.
1000%, man. The reality is the Gracies did so well in the jiu-jitsu space and made it so super popular because it's such a niche space of area of martial arts, solely focusing on being on the ground, solely focusing on isolation of limb, right?
Yeah.
there are plenty of really good stand-up martial artists that if they just focused as much time on learning how to defend getting taken down in the right timing, you'd never get into the ground.
Yeah.
And so that's okay. That's good. Do that. But if you are claiming that what I'll do is when he comes to me and tries to take me down, I'm just going to knee him in the face or I'm just going to uppercut him. The problem is, if you don't have a specialist at your gym that knows how to get you to the ground really well and you are not practicing that. So what happens is, this is the thing, your teacher goes, oh, well, this is easy. This is how you defend the takedown. You just knee him in the head, which is fine. And that's a correct application of defense.
In
Knee them in the
theory,
head when they come down. But when someone tries to do a shot in your gym and tries to take you down and they just run it with their hands out, because that's the reality of what most people do the defense to.
That's it.
It's not how that works.
And what if you're fainting?
Yeah, what if you're fainting?
And then you...
Tell Alexander was it Carlin? Is it,
Karelin.
Karelin, yeah, the wrestler.
So,
Is it,
I don't want to tell him shit because he...
exactly right. Yeah, okay, sure, knee me in the face. Let's go.
He goes, yeah, I'll take that knee, and then I'll take your soul.
I'll fucking take your soul from you. And that's what I mean. He has spent more... That's the only... Sorry, it's not the only reason, but the reason the reason that the grapplers do so well against the stand-up guys is because the grapplers' sole job is to get the fight to their position.
Yep.
And so they spend a lot of time on getting there.
Yeah.
Getting to
Make it
their
advantageous.
position.
Yeah.
They definitely don't spend a lot of time stand-up sparring. But if you do spend time in your own gyms, like judokas, right? This is the thing. Judo does virtually 0 strikes. When you watch them do their kata no kata, which is their form practice of throws, when you demonstrate your practice, someone will come in with an overhand strike, they will block, and they will turn and do a throw. That is not what they're waiting for to do a throw in real life. Usually it's the gripping portions, and then they practice the randori in the sparring. They've got the technical learning of this is where we learn some things, and here's the practical sparring. And so if you get into a confrontation with like a judoka, and you get that feeling, the judokas are really comfortable, and you are going for a ride. So you are going for a ride because that's where they practice.
Yes.
So that's the thing. It's like if your art form, there's plenty of modern day Wing Chun application in UFC.
Yes.
If you watch John Jones, if you watch Anderson Silva, if you watch any of those guys they all use trapping techniques that have come from Wing Chun. Tony Ferguson's a massive advocate of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's also crazy now, but he's like CTE punching to the face. But there's so like application for everything is everywhere.
Absolutely.
And so it's relevant to what your why. It's relevant to what you're trying to do.
And can I say this is it's not a surprise, but next week's, because I feel like we are actually going to this place now, and we are gonna finish up in a second.
Yeah.
But stay tuned for next week, where we are going to say if we did now we haven't absolved the world of martial arts,
Not at all.
but if Alex and I had to start from scratch, so let's just say you're 16 years old.
Men in Black.
Yep. Yeah. I got Men in Black.
We got Men in Black. That's another video, by the way. Anyway.
Why did I get Men in Black? That's what I want to know.
Anyway.
If we had to start from scratch, what would we do? And that's going to be
fuck.
that's next week. And
Okay. We'll start our conversation.
That is knowing what we know.
Now, yeah.
But now we have 0 training
we'll just
under our belt. Would it be similar path? Would it be different path? Would it be something completely foreign?
Yeah.
Would it be Aikido?
Maybe.
And you'll have to stay tuned
For next week.
to find out.
Did we actually answer the question?
I think we've both landed in the yes.
Yeah.
But so yes, it's relevant.
Yeah, they are.
But you need its context.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that?
I totally agree.
Pressure test. Don't
blindly follow.
Yeah, don't be part of a cult.
Myself as well.
Unless
don't
it's a good
follow.
cult.
Like I tried a lot myself into that. Like
Don't
blindly follow.
Hey, look, and this we've covered this in, I think it was episode 2 or 3 about finding a good school.
Yeah.
If your instructor gets upset,
if you can't question them,
you can't question them on anything, you find a new school.
Yeah.
Because your instructor should be able to say,
You should be a confident enough human to be able to answer questions.
and also confident enough to say, hey, do you know what? I don't know that.
Yeah, 100%.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
If you're
They don't have to know. They're not the all-knowing grand poobah.
That's it.
They're allowed to not know
You're
stuff.
allowed to. I don't. There's plenty of stuff I don't know. Yeah. But anyway, yes, correct. So yes, no, that's right. It's relevant. I think it's relevant. I will always advocate for all martial arts.
Yes.
I think I'll always advocate for all martial arts. And
I will advocate for most of them.
yeah, I say martial arts. I didn't say fucking
Fantasy.
I didn't say fantasy land.
Okay, yes.
I'll advocate for all martial arts and martial artists to understand their art form, who practice their art form in a way that is relevant to now, and keeping tradition alive is nothing wrong with that at all. As long as you're not blindly following, as long as you and understand your why.
2 feet firmly on the ground.
2 feet firmly on the ground in reality, and not go, and not have the, oh yeah, but when when I do this, I have a secret technique that does.
Yeah,
that
but
defeats
if I do
everything.
this,
That's not how that works. That's
No.
just not how that works. Everything is relevant to its space and in its respective form to what you are trying to achieve.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, that's where I land with it. But I'll always advocate for martial arts, and I'll always advocate for traditional training, and also, but with traditional training with modern views. I think that's
I like it.
a nice way to be. Traditional training.
Traditional training with modern views.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I think that's a good way to end.
Love it. Thank
you
Hope
very much
that's
again.
fun. That was
Stay
fun.
tuned for next week when we build our martial arts from scratch.
Oh, it's gonna be hard. Oh, how do I think about
Yep.
it? Where do I start? I don't know. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.